Hello,
Hi.
yoga podcasty people. This is my good friend Denisha. I am Yogi Cecily. Denisha, where can people find you on social media?
On social media, my handle is DBreakfast, the letter D, and then breakfast, the word breakfast.
Okay, so Instagram?
On Instagram, pretty much on Instagram.
TikTok at all?
No TikTok. I'm a what Gen am I? Gen Z? No, that's just their TikTok.
She's Gen younger than me, so
I'm a millennial.
A millennial.
I haven't figured it out yet.
So Instagram, and then you also have a sauce.
Yes, I also have a sauce business. It's called Da Sauce, and you can find that at on Instagram. The handle is Da Sauce Journey. No spaces.
Like D-A
Sauce Journey.
All right, cool. So we got a lot going on. Now, we both teach yoga.
We do.
Okay. And there's a lot of styles of yoga out there, right? So, like if we do Ashtanga,
Yeah.
we do Ashtanga, there's an A sun salute
Yes.
and a B sun salute, right?
Yes.
And so, talk me through the A, like just cue it. Just cue, I'm standing there, just cue me.
Oh my God.
It's okay. So it's arms
extended,
overhead.
Yeah,
right.
arms overhead, extended mountain.
Yeah.
Forward fold,
Right.
Uttanasana. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Chaturanga Dandasana. High to low plank on your exhale. Up dog on your inhale. Down dog on your exhale.
Right, great. And that's usually followed then with a warrior one.
Warrior one.
Right. So that's a traditional modality of a vinyasa, right? And so what I kind of want to do with these podcasts is talk to teachers and say, all right, if we're not doing sun salutes, like what's the most common flow? So now you got me in my downward facing dog. As a general students, what do students expect to come next to you? Not what you teach, right? Just like you can tell, there's a lot of students out there, like they go to certain places, core power yoga, and you can always tell them. I can always tell who's core power yoga. So what do you think most people expect after that downward facing dog?
After that downward facing dog, I know that some people expect to do three-legged and some knee to nose kind of cheetah sort of things, knee to elbow, some of those.
I didn't even know it was called a cheetah. Is that what some folks call it?
Some folks call it cheetah. Mm-hmm.
Right? And then if you step to the outside, it's a lizard.
A lizard lunge. Uh-huh.
I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
I just call it a leg lift from downward dog.
A leg lift.
But now people expect to hear three-legged dog.
Three-legged
dog. That's new to me. So now I've done that, and then what do you feel typically people expect to come next?
Maybe a crescent lunge.
A crescent lunge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you see in the more modern flows, they're quite leggy.
Yes.
I feel like they're very leggy, right? So three-legged
Lot
dog,
of
a lot of leg, lizard lunge, skandasana, the low lateral lunges, crescent warrior, warrior twos, peaceful warrior.
Yep.
So a lot is still raising the arm to peaceful warrior, which is new to me. I mean, when I say new, like I want to say like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was not so much peaceful warrior. Like it was maybe done once preceding something. I'm getting a phone call, okay. It was done once maybe preceding something.
Yeah.
Like side angle lunge with a binding.
A side angle lunge with a binding.
But very few people bind.
Very few people bind. Yeah, public classes go kind of fast. You're one of the only teachers that stops and teaches.
Because I'm old. So the reason why I stop and teach a lot, y'all should know, is a couple of reasons. One is that we want to polish and improve.
We do.
So we don't want to be redundant. I want you to imagine playing a chess game and making the same moves all the time and then losing all the time. So at some point, if you have a chess teacher, your chess teacher will say stop, and instead of moving that, why don't you try moving something else first, and then we'll see how the game goes. So I see yoga as something that the more we repeat it, the more opportunity we have to actually polish and improve. And I don't mean be like perfect in the poses, but just like a chess game, like you learn a little bit more each time. Now, Denisha, you have a workshop coming up on
September 17th, Tuesday night at the Yogashala. We're gonna start right after the last class, 7:45 p.m. So it's a night rager.
But it's after a class.
Yes.
So now look, folks, y'all got to get to the workshops and things, right? Please understand, workshops are never at a good time because the classes are at the good times, right? Right? So
yeah.
Workshops are always like Sundays at 4, or or they're in a strange place like a basketball court at Sanford. You know what I mean? The university, like where is the yoga? It's always someplace. So all of the classes are at the cherry times, and all the workshops are kind of at off times. So you got to commit to them. What is your workshop about?
My workshop is about twisting and binding.
Yay! Twisting and binding.
We're gonna break it down.
Okay. What do you think holds people back from doing, aside from being able to do them and some anatomy stuff, what do you think sort of holds them back?
People, if they're not cued into it, a lot of people won't even try it. They're waiting for that either permission or instruction. Maybe they're newer to yoga and they haven't tried before. There are definitely people who have thoughts about their shoulder mobility and arm mobility and also legs.
So like some concern, like they're worried, like, oh, that looks like I might actually injure myself, or they know they have an injury and they're just like, yeah, no.
Yeah, they might think it's too much. I don't know how you feel about using straps and towels as extra arm length, but some people might not realize that is an option.
Well, that's really good, because I don't teach with a lot of straps and towels and things like that. That's very rare for me. But I do think newer teachers, right? You're newer to me. I mean, it's like you gotta get your students over the bridge somehow. And so if it's like, hey everybody, I know it's a vinyasa class, let's grab straps. I think when people grab straps, towels, things like that, I think a lot of students go, oh, here we go, Iyengar alignment, that's not what I wanted, I want a vinyasa class, right? Why do you think people are attracted, what do you think people are wanting out of vinyasa? Why do they want that more than instructional?
That is a good question. I think it has a lot to do with maybe attention span.
Oh.
And vinyasa classes are faster flows. Maybe you fit more into a vinyasa class, and in that sense, more means more accomplished in that time.
Do you think
people like to move?
Do you think that's speaking more to millennials, Gen Zs, people younger want faster, just like on our cell phones and things? Do you think it's kind of like correlated to?
I think potentially
the times.
Correlated to the times.
Yeah. And then just one last thing about the twisting and the binding. Now, so you already said about the shoulder. Now, what do you think, anatomy-wise, holds people back? And there's several answers here, but like what you already spoke about the shoulder. So what else makes it hard for people to bind?
Hips.
In the hip. So can you explain that more? So because the hip has a lot of parts.
Like being externally rotated in the legs, or internally rotated. I think men typically are more externally rotated.
That tends to be true. That's right.
And what else?
So externally rotated, by the way, means kind of like you're like a cowboy. I always like just try to describe it to people, like if you're kind of like a cowboy, more like your legs fall out and a small horse can fit in there, then you're externally rotated. Now, a lot of women can externally rotate well, right? but they can also internally rotate. So you do have a situation where people simply have enough range of motion in both directions that the bindings aren't a problem. So it's not like people who are externally rotated, you know, a lot of the men are kind of fixed that way. It's really hard for them to do eagle,
Right.
for example. All right, so maybe in the next video we'll talk about like some of the other leg, well, it's eagle and mostly cow face pose. It's mostly the legs and cow face, right? So y'all can look that up. Okay, so I'm Yogi Cecily. Find me on Instagram. You probably found me on Instagram. I'm Cecily_Yogi on YouTube. I am on TikTok as Yogi Cecily. And I have a website, Cecily'sYogaRetreats.com. I have a retreat coming up next year, July 26th. Maybe
Oh, she
Denisha will
locked
be
it
there.
in.
I locked
I'll
it
be
in.
there.
Okay. All right. Thanks, folks. Bye. See you soon.
Thank you.